Good morning, everybody. I see a lot of good morning messages. That's very nice and cordial. So we already have Manoj Mittal sir. Since most anybody can see the broadcasting. Are you all able to see the broadcasting? Hello. Okay, good morning everybody, and very pleasant to see you all in this webinar. We have with us Manoj Mittal sir, and I think we don't need an introduction for sir. Very interesting topic which is related to engineering ethics and professional ethics, and he has quite a few interesting things to share in the presentation. So we let's wait for 1 minute and then we will start. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Should we wait for some time?
I think it's already 11 and we can start.
Okay. Good morning, everybody. It's quite interesting to have all in this webinar. This is quite a new thing, at least for me. And in this period of lockdown and coronavirus, it has become very popular. But somehow it seems to be a one-way traffic. I will be speaking for some time, for half an hour, 1 hour. And generally, I'm not used to one-way traffic. I appreciate having two-way communication in classroom, delivery, or lecture in live. But anyway, technology has its advantages and also some limitations. So we will go by that. And I hope everybody is doing well in this lockdown period and keeping safe. So, as I understand, in this webinar, I think participants must be some students, some young engineers, some very senior professional engineers, practicing engineers, and also engineers of other disciplines, and also officials from other disciplines. So, as I understand, all of us engineers, even if we are not engineers, we work in different roles, different capacities, different types of organizations. We do different kind of activities, but we come across several situations which are related to ethics, and we are supposed to take some decisions which are ethical in nature. And I understand wherever we are working, whatever roles we are working, but the basic theme of ethics will remain the same, and the decision making will remain the same. So I hope this presentation, this webinar will be helpful to all. It may look like a common sense and very generic to many senior persons, but still I feel it will be a good thing. It will be a good thing to go through it from the basics only. And in this webinar, we will try to explore a little bit into the commonly used terms also, which we use very frequently, but sometimes we do not understand the meaning of these terms. So we will try to understand those terms, as well as we'll try to build the case how this ethics, what is ethics, and how this ethics is important, and what is the role of ethics in the engineering profession particularly. And my case studies may sometimes look like from the point of civil or structural engineers, but I think they will be applicable to all disciplines, to everybody. So let's start the presentation. The topic, as you know, is understanding ethics and its role in engineering profession. In my view, the ethics is the most important aspect in professional practice. But in my 35 years of practice, I have seen that it is also the most neglected aspect in engineering. and I can say it is also very least understood also. So I think we should try to understand this. Generally, as an engineer, wherever we are working, we deal with technical specifications, codes, standards, drawings, contracts, quality management, project management, etc., etc. So these are all technical things we do in our day-to-day life as a professional engineer. But do we understand what is profession? We generally say we are into engineering profession, but do we really understand what is the meaning of the profession? What is profession? Then what do we mean by professionalism? Then who is a consultant? We say we are consultant. Do we understand who is a consultant and what is the meaning of the consultant? We will also try to understand this a little bit. And then, do we also think of ethics? What is ethics? We will try to explore all these things in this webinar. Let's try to understand. First of all, we start with the profession. What is profession? Now, profession requires specialized knowledge and often long and intensive academic preparation. As we know, in engineering, we undergo 4-year program. We also do masters sometime. So basically, we do specialized knowledge and we go under academic preparation. So we qualify under this profession. Secondly, the profession, we say the whole body of persons who are engaged in a particular kind of activity. And then sometimes there's a confusion. It also needs skill. Profession also needs skill. So the carpenters, barbenders, the blacksmith, the plumbers, they're also skilled persons. They also do skill work. We engineers also do the skill work. But sometimes we say, but we should not say the carpentry and all the plumbers, they are not professionals. We should not say them profession. They are at best trades or craftsmen. And the professionals generally do mental work. We do knowledge-based activities, while others do the physical work. So a profession must have the academic preparation. It must have a skill. They must be doing the mental work. So we are doing all these things. So we can say we are professional, or our engineering is a profession. But the profession also needs one thing. Generally, the profession is also regulated by some kind of a council or some kind of a act of the parliament or act of central act. But in India, surprisingly, in India, engineering do not have any act, and we do not have any central act. And but still, even if we do not have any act like medical act or law or medicine or chart accountancy or architect, but still we have some professional institutions like institution of engineers are there, some other bodies are there. They and also sometimes we are required to register with municipal corporations, local bodies, development authorities also to do our work. So we can say these bodies also sometimes they try to regulate the profession indirectly, very loose terms. So for all practice, yes, legally engineering is not a profession in India. Yes, but for all practical purposes, we can say the engineering is a profession, even though it is not regulated by an act. So what are the basic characteristics of a professional? First one is a great responsibility. We as an engineer, whenever we are working on any project, our clients have a lot of put lot of responsibility on it. And as a professional, work typically involves circumstances where carelessness, inadequate skill, or breach of ethics would be significantly damaging to the stakeholders. So as such, we engineer, if we are professional, we have to share the great responsibility. Then accountability. Each professional is supposed to be accountable, and generally the profession, this accountability is fixed by some kind of a mechanism, but still, even if there's no mechanism is available, like counsel who can take action against you, still, we as a professional must regulate ourselves. If not the individual, professional will ensure it. Professionals hold themselves ultimately accountable for the quality of their work. Whatever we professionals are doing, we should be accountable to our work. Otherwise, we cannot call ourselves as a professional. Now, this is already covered based on specialized and theoretical knowledge. We undergo academic preparation. We also undergo internships, trainings under the supervision of some senior engineers. So this is also required to be a professional. Institutional preparation. Autonomy. Now, this is important. Autonomy. Professionals have control over and correspondingly ultimate responsibilities for their own work. Professional tends to define the terms, processes, and conditions of work to be performed for clients. So, whenever we are doing some work, we have some kind of a leverage where we can define our work conditions, we can define our fee, we can define the conditions, the time period we need to take, so many things. So we also have a choice to do the work or not do the work. So we have some kind of a autonomy as a professional. So professional must have this autonomy. This is a basic quality. And then we have clients rather than customer. See, we as an engineer, as a consultant, we also provide services, but we are not only the service provider, we are consultants. Members of profession exercise discrimination in choosing the clients rather than simply accepting any interested party as a customer, as merchants do. So we work for the clients. We do not have customer like any other service provider, like Airtel. Airtel is also providing service, but they have customers. But we as a consultant, we have clients. We do not have customers. And we can also always choose who can be our clients, but Airtel probably cannot choose who can be the customers. Whosoever is going to them, they will provide the service. So there's a difference between that. So we have clients, not the customers. And then this covered. Then ethical constraints. Professionals generally have a code of conduct or ethics. We will talk about ethics in detail later. And this is specific to a distinct profession and sometimes the individual. Professionals also aspire towards a general body of core values which are centered upon the uncompromising and unconflicted regard for the client's, employers, stakeholders' best interest. So basically, the actions of a professionals are governed by some kind of ethical constraints. So this is also important, but even if some profession do not have any well-defined ethical constraints, then individual professional must have these kind of ethical code of ethics for themselves. Now, related to this is a professionalism. What do you mean by professionalism? If we are professional, then we are supposed to act like a professional. And professionalism means a very simple means behaving in an ethical manner. Ethical, again, it is coming ethical here. Whenever we are talking about the profession, ethics comes there. When we talk about professional, ethics come there. When we talk about professionalism, again, ethics come here. So professionalism means behaving in an ethical manner while assuming and fulfilling your rightful responsibilities in every situation, every time, without fail. It means having the requisite ability to be worthy of the confidence others place in you. So this is professionalism, and it also means in every situation willfully gathering responsibility rather than avoiding it. If I say it in other words, quite simply, if the buck doesn't stop with you, you are not a professional. You are responsible for whatever we are doing, and if something goes wrong, we are responsible for it. We should learn to take the responsibility. We cannot pass the buck. So this is the definition of professionalism. Now we have understood what is profession, what is the basic characteristics of profession, and what is the professionalism. So we are saying engineering is a profession, and all those who are doing the profession of engineering, they are professional. Now let's devote some time on engineering and engineers. So engineers are basically problem solvers. They benefit people. They provide public service. They are utilitarians. They are applied physical scientists. They are drivers for converting technology to benefits. They are rational. They are logical. They are systematic. And they are concerned with public safety and well-being. Whatever we are doing, whatever decisions we are taking, whatever we are doing, whatever we are designing, whatever we are supervising, whatever we are certifying, these are generally concerned with public safety and well-being. So as an engineer, we are doing these things. Engineering as a profession. Engineering occurs at the confluence of technology, social science, and business. Technology is applied science. So as an engineer, we are developing technology, we are using the technology, we are also affecting the social dynamics. Whatever projects we are undertaking, industry is being set up, dams is being created, some roads are being constructed. Ultimately, it affects the social system, it affects the social dynamics, and the engineering decisions are also affecting the way businesses are conducted. Lot of changes are coming in the businesses, the way business are being done, and so ultimately the engineering decisions have impact on all the three areas in the confluence, that are technology, social science, and businesses. Just I'm trying to highlight the importance of engineering as a profession. So further, the public nature of engineers' work ensures that ethics will always play a role. As an engineer, we are affecting the social dynamics, we are impacting the businesses, we are impacting the technology, and we are impacting the public safety and well-being. So ethics is an important aspect in our work. Hence, professional engineers must ensure that interest of the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? Stakeholders may be your client, the society, general public, environment. They're all stakeholders. They must prevail over their and their organization's interest. Yes, we are working in any organization. We might be a freelancer. So a professional engineer must ensure that interest of stakeholders must prevail over our own interests or our organization's interest. This is an important aspect in engineering as a profession. Then consultant. Let's see who is a consultant. A consultant provides services for which client do not have knowledge or competence. Who is hiring us? A client who do not have that kind of expertise or knowledge. So we as an expert, we will be providing some kind of services to the client for which he do not have the knowledge or competence. And we will charge fee for the services rendered. If you are doing some work free of cost, you are not charging any fee, you are probably not a consultant. You may be advisor or something, but consultancy means consultant means you must charge the fee for the services rendered. And another thing, the most important thing is, if you after rendering your services and charging the fee, client must also feel obliged for the services rendered by the consultant. See, we are rendering the service, we are also taking the fee, but client must also feel obliged for the services which we have rendered to them. But this will not happen with the service providers, other service providers. You do not feel obliged to the Airtel or any service provider. They are also providing you service. You are also paying. They are also charging something from you. But still, you generally do not feel obliged to Airtel. But as a true consultant, if you are a true consultant, then client must feel obliged that you did this service for them. So there's a difference between consultant and service provider. So now we have seen who is a consultant, who is a true consultant, who is a professional. So as a consultant, we are engineer and we are professional. And we have also seen our activities, our role is very important. We provide the services, we do certain things which are public in nature, which affect the safety and well-being of the public. Yeah. Now come to ethics. Now we have established that ethics is important for engineering profession. Now let's see ethics. There's a very basic definitions I have taken from internet. English word ethics is derived from ancient Greek word ethikos, meaning relating to one's character. So basically, this ethics is coming from the character, which itself comes from the root word ethos, meaning the character, moral nature. This word was transferred into Latin as ethica and then into French as ethique, from which it was transferred into English as ethics. So basically, this word ethics has root in moral character. It has something to do with the character, something to do with the moral nature, moral values. So this is another dimension of engineering profession or engineering practice, because other things are quite technical in nature, whether you are designing, constructing, technology, management, all those things are technical nature, but this ethics is at the core of everything which is related to the character. Now, ethics, moral values, and law. There are three things: ethics, moral values, and law. Ethics refers to the guidelines for conduct that address question about morality. Ethics is about morality, but it is basically a guideline for conduct, how to conduct the activities. This is related to ethics. Ethics are basically a system of moral principles. They tells what is morally correct or incorrect in the given situation. There is situation, in that situation, how to determine whether it is morally correct or not. There is a code of ethics that will determine whether something is morally correct or incorrect in a particular situation. Now, in different situations, outcome may be different. Now, these ethics are usually uniform. They do not change on the day-to-day basis. They do not change. They generally do not change. They are generally uniform for for a set of persons or a set of or a particular profession. They are uniform. They determine extent of rightness or wrongness of our options. When we are deciding on any option, they help us in taking decision. They tell us how right is the decision or how wrong is the decision. So our decision may not be 100% right. Our decision may not be 100% wrong. So sometime we need to take a decision. We need to decide on the option whether which is more right or which is less wrong. So ultimately, this ethics helps us in taking the decision. So it is a guideline for conduct, and these ethics constrain our actions or decisions. Whatever decision we are taking as a professional, our decisions are constrained by the ethics. So this is ethics. And what are moral values? Moral values are principles of right and wrong. They refers to important and enduring beliefs based on which individual makes judgment in life. Now, moral values also stimulates our thinking. They strongly influence the emotional state of mind. It acts as a motivator. Now, the moral values are not permanent in nature. They do change with time, and moral values of a person may be different from other person. Moral values are, have a they come from they are affected by your religion. They also affected by your tradition. They are also affected by the social system in which you live. They are also affected by the family tradition. So they are affected by so many things. So, and also upbringing, your upbringing. Ultimately, each individual may have some variation in their moral values, and whatever decision we as an individual take in our day-to-day life are affected by these moral values. On a particular thing, there can be different moral value in a country like India. It can be different in some other country. It depends on so many things. So they are individual basically, and they do change, but it takes time to change. Something which was there 100 years back may not be true today. We have changed. So many scientific development has happened. So our values also change with the time. But they stimulates our thinking. They affects our emotional state, and they also affect the way we decide the things. But they are individualistic. So ethics are consistent, but values may differ person to person. Ethics determines right or wrong, but values define our priorities for life. Ultimately, we can say ethics are the shared values. Ethics are for a profession. Now, for example, for engineering, we may have a particular set of ethics. For medicine, there may be another set of ethics, and they are all derived from the moral values, common shared moral values. But all of us who are in a profession are supposed to follow the ethics, the code of ethics, which is common. My values may be different, they may vary, but still I am supposed to follow the ethics. Then there is something called law. Moral values are individualistic, relatively permanent nature. They may change with time depending upon the your so many factors. Ethics are shared values, and they are context based, they are profession based, they are also company based, and there are laws. Laws are binding code of conducts. Ethics is not a binding code of conduct, but laws are binding code of conducts. They are written rules. Ethics may also be written, but moral values are not written. Laws are set of rules which are legislated by a legitimate authority like assembly, like parliament, and which can force and obligate others to do something or leave. There is no other option not to follow it. One has to follow it. They are formally recognized and enforced. Company policies generally come under the category of law. Each company may have a different policies, but they are enforceable by law. So we have three things. We have moral values, we have ethics, the code of ethics, and we have law. Law is mandatory to follow, whether you like it or not like it. Then moral values are helping you to take a decision in day-to-day life, in your professional work also. Ethics are also based on the moral values and the law, but they are for a particular profession, and generally our decisions in that profession are supposed to be within the ethics. So something can be legal but not ethical. Generally, whatever is ethical will generally be is illegal, but something can always be legal, but that cannot be ethical. I will share some case study on it. The legal rules are about human social behavior, while ethical rules are about both social and individual behavior. Basic ethical principles are always general and eternal and remain same for all humans. Values have individualistic approach. It varies from person to person, but generally remain stable, but they may vary. While legal rules can be changed, legal rules can be changed by the act of assembly or parliament due to worldly interest, time and location. They are not static, but they are enforceable. Okay, there are various ethical theories. This is a little bit philosophical thing. In philosophy, this subject called ethics and professional practice is generally not taught to the engineers in their curriculum. Generally, I have not seen actually. But this is a subject of philosophy. This ethics comes from the philosophy. So there are various ethical theories that is called utilitarian theory. In this theory, decisions is good insofar as it provides for the greatest good for the greatest number. Whatever decision we are taking, that should be good. That is good if it is helping to the maximum persons and doing the maximum good. And there is another theory called duty ethics theory. Duty ethics theory says the decision is good if it is based on professional duties one has to follow. As an engineer, I know what are my professional duties. So if I am following all those duties, then I can say then my decision will be good or my decision is good. The third is the rights ethics theory. It says the decision is good if it is based on rights of the receiver of the services. If I am doing something, I am taking a decision, I am designing something or I am doing something, and if for whom it is being designed or whom decision is being taken, if it is good for them, then I can say my decision is good. Then virtue theory, it says decision is good if it is in accordance to the way a virtuous person would decide. So there are many theories and they evaluate the option from different perspective. One perspective is how I am deciding. Another perspective is how the person for whom I am deciding what he will feel. And the other approach is I should take a decision which will do maximum good to the maximum persons. So to arrive at a decision, I can evaluate an option on different from different perspective by different theories, and usually the outcome will generally be the same, but may not be the same. So there are other theories also. So this is just I wanted to give an idea what the ethics contain. Actually, this is a very vast subject. I'm just covering the basic fundamentals. Then there are 3 steps for decision making. Step 1 is called the golden rule. It is all decisions must take into account and reflect a concern for the interest and well-being of all stakeholders. My decision will be right if I am taking account of or interest of all the well-being of all the stakeholders. This is called golden rule. The first we should try for this. And second one is do the right thing. Ethical values and principles always take precedence over unethical ones. This is quite obvious. When I am taking a decision, my decision will be right if I am taking the considering the ethical values and I am avoiding the unethical things. If I'm not doing an ethical thing, most likely my decision will be the right one. Then very rarely do wrong makes right. It is ethically proper to violate an ethical. Now see, there's an option and there are ethical principles. It says it is permitted to violate a ethical rule if following the another ethical principle is doing a greater good to the person in the long run. So it says that it is ethically proper to violate an ethical principle only when it is clearly necessary to advance another true ethical principle, which according to a decision maker's conscience will provide the greatest good in the long run. So that there's option, and one principle says this decision will be good. Another principle says if you take this option, it will be better, it will help the maximum persons in the long run, so you can violate that ethical principle. So this is risky, but yes, you can also sometimes use this in decision making. Both the decisions are good, but second one is more good. Okay, generally, when we start our profession, whenever an engineer comes after graduating, he start work. So generally, in the professionalism, we say there are three levels. In the level one, the person, the young, he start working. His concern is to gain of individual. He think of his own interest, and also he thinks of corporate loyalty, client confidence, but for personal advancement. He will also take care of corporate loyalty, and he will also take of client confidence, but only for personal advancement. In the initial year of working, he will do like this. And then the level two, which we say professional, we say level two, where a person, an engineer becomes professional. It is loyalty to company and no concern for society and environment. In this category, in this stage, that engineer become loyal to the company, but he has no concern for society. He is not considering society and environment as an important thing, but loyalty to the company is important for him in the second stage. And loyalty to the company is connected to loyalty to profession. Societal concerns are not emphasized. In this stage, he is not considering society or environment, but yes, he is loyal to the company. So, and in the level three, which is called principled professional, here service to the human welfare is paramount. Now engineer becomes seasoned, he becomes experienced, and now he start thinking about the human welfare. He start thinking of societal rules and values, and he may even put the societal rules and values above the professional standards and corporate loyalty. He may think that society benefit of society and human welfare is much more important than the corporate loyalty or professional standard. Professional conduct is solely guided by the sense of fairness and genuine concern for society, individuals, and environment. Decisions may contradict the professional codes. Now, this is the highest level of the professional, which comes with experience, and it is not related to the direct number of years, but also the quality experience one get in the profession. So ultimately, you are a true professional, usually at the senior level, when you start thinking of human welfare and safety, and you start giving them more priority than your own interest, than over your organization's interest, and also about the and you are becoming more fair, and you are becoming more genuinely concerned for the society. So ultimately, as I see, generally the professional engineer's status is given to an engineer in many of the countries after he attains certain number of experience, 5 years or 7 years experience. He gets this professional engineer's licensing or certification, because after 7 years he becomes mature. He start thinking of the society and public welfare. So I think this 5 or 7 years, the condition is because of this only, because one get matured after few years. So these are the levels of professionalism. So why ethics in engineering? If you see in India, we have various professional bodies. We have institution of engineers with a multidisciplinary. We have various other professional bodies who are focused into one single profession. Even non-engineering professional bodies, medicine or chartered accountancy or other bodies also, they have their code of conduct, their code of ethics. But if you compare all the code of ethics, you will find something like this in everywhere in all the code of ethics. Engineers shall at all times recognize that their primary obligation is to protect the safety, property, and welfare of the public. If their professional judgment is overruled under circumstances where the safety, health, property, or welfare of public and are endangered, they shall notify their employer, client, and such other authority stakeholders as may be appropriate. Apart from other things, this thing will generally be there in different shapes in all the ethics. So ultimately, what we are trying to say, public safety and welfare is paramount in professional practice, particularly in engineering, where your decisions are affecting everyone: society, technology, businesses, environment. Now, situations of ethical issues. Engineering ethics is concerned with the question what the standards of an engineering ethics should be and how to apply these in particular situation. Now, situations of ethical issues may arise in conceptualization, design, technical specifications, qualification requirements, testing, supervision, timelines, budgets, estimates, opinions, judgments, and so many things. So, in one of the research studies, it has been found that that maximum unethical practice happens at the time of before construction stage. That means at the stage of designing, at the time of tender preparation, bidding, maximum unethical practices start at that level. There's one research which has this outcome, and then this ethical issues may arrive during the construction stage in terms of bribery, as fraud, as extortion, bid rigging, overbilling, claim game, money laundering, and so many other things. You as an engineer are supposed to specify certain things. You are writing the specifications. You can specify certain things which may benefit someone known to you. It may look, it may not be illegal. It may not be illegal, but it is unethical. So many situations can come in engineering decisions, in designing also. Suppose you are designing and you are ignoring certain clauses of the IS codes. That is unethical, but that's also illegal. You are overlooking the quality standards. That is unethical, but that's also not legal. You are compromising something. Then there are ethical dilemmas. Ethical dilemmas are situations in which moral reasons comes into conflict and it is not immediately obvious what should be done. Moral values are many and varied and can make competing claims. In such a situation, code of ethics serves as a guide for resolving ethical dilemmas. Now, there are certain decisions which are quite obvious, which are something right and wrong nature. Nobody can say taking bribe is right. You will always say is wrong. You are not following the code. You will always say it is wrong. It can never be right. If you are not speaking rightly, you are not writing truthfully, you are not maintaining the confidentiality, Nobody can say it's right, it is always wrong. So these are simple situations where you can say this is right or this is wrong. Then there are situations where we say it is better or worse, means whether to take, for example, whether to take a transmission line from this route or construct a dam at this place, this location, or accept a quality lower than the specified, even if rule permits. Because these are the decisions. You can construct dam at this particular location, or you can also take two other place. You can construct a road, you can take a particular alignment, you can also think of changing the alignment little bit. Both are right, but something can be more better or some decision can be less worse. Ultimately, this is the situation where you cannot say it is absolutely right or absolutely wrong. So this is a dilemma where you have to trade off which is more better or which is less worse. So these are the situations which are ethical in nature. And in this right or wrong, it is simple. It is legal or illegal also. But in better or worse, it is very difficult to say it is illegal. It will be illegal only if you can establish the fact that it is due to a malified intention. Otherwise, you will not be able to say it is wrong or it is illegal. It may be legal. It may be legal to take this route or that route. That is an engineering judgment. But that can be ethical or unethical. Code of ethics, we have talked about the code of ethics. Code of ethics identify a specific precedence with respect to engineers' consideration for public employers, environment, and the profession. They express rights, duties, and obligations of engineer. Primarily, a code of ethics provides a framework. Basically, all code of ethics provides a framework for ethical judgment for professional. It serves as a starting point for ethical decision making. So these are quite helpful in decision making. Codes often also emphasize competence. What should be the competence of professionals who are members of that professional association or body? Trustworthiness, honesty, and fairness. These are key features of code of ethics. Code of ethics may vary a little bit from various professions, but concerns for law, public safety, health, well-being, and environment is at the core of all. Code of ethics is not a recipe for ethical behavior. It is not a substitute for sound judgment. It is not a legal document. It also does not create new moral ethical principles. Ultimately, final decisions you will take according to your own values, your own moral values. Yes, within the code of ethics only. Okay. And then as a professional engineer, the main responsibilities of an engineer are confidentiality and proprietary information, conflict of interest, competitive bidding, safety, and fundamental right is of an engineer is the right of professional conscience, the right to apply own professional judgment while discharging duties. Whatever situations you are, in whatever roles you are, whether you are an employee or a freelance consultant or a decision maker or a managing director or whatever you may be, but ultimately you are responsible as a professional engineer for your own decisions. Nobody should be able to overrule your decisions. I will talk about this a little bit later. But before that, I will try to bring you a case study. Okay, we have taken 45 minutes. So I will skip some case studies, but yes, I will take some very interesting case studies. This is a case study. You must have heard about this City Group Center in New York, Manhattan. This is a building. It was constructed in 1977 to house the headquarters of Citibank. It is 279-meter tall. It has 59 floors and 1.3 million square feet of area. And this building has the structural system of this building is it has 4 columns at the base, which are not at the corner. They are, you can say it is squarish building, base is squarish, and it has 4 main columns at the outer periphery, but not at the corner, but at the center line of the side, or the center of the center of the line side. So ultimately, it has quite long cantilevers, and the dimensions are its height is 279 meter. These columns are 35 meter high. 22 meter is the cantilever part, and this building was designed by an engineer, a New York-based engineer, and this building was completed in 1976, opened in 1977. It is an office building. Now, the structure is, it has 4 columns, and then to withstand the wind, they have a system of stacked load-bearing braces in the form of inverted trusses. Steel members are there on all sides, so that they can transfer the wind to the ground. And this building, and why this question is why there is so much of cantilever, and why columns have not been placed at the center, at the corner, which generally we do. Because when that land deal was done, there was a church there, and it was decided that this church will remain at the same point, the same place. So whatever is to be done, that church should remain there. So because of keeping the church at the corner of that ground floor, this everything was done accordingly. And this building also have mass tuned damper, which was placed in the mechanical space at the top. And this substantial piece of stabilizing equipment weighs around 400 tons. The damper is designed to counteract the swaying motion due to effect of the wind of the building, and reduces the building movement due to wind as much as 50%. And this was the first this is the first multi-story building in the United States to have this tuned mask damper. Now, what happened? This building was constructed, and then, as per the New York Building Code, they are supposed to consider the wind which is acting perpendicular to the side, and they are not supposed to check the wind coming from diagonals. And as per their code, generally it is assumed that if you are considering the wind coming from the perpendicular to the side, then structure will also be safe if the wind is coming from the diagonals. So this engineer designed the building accordingly. The building was constructed. But in June 1978, after the building was constructed in June 78, this engineer was having some discussion with a student of civil engineering in Princeton University. And then the student said that we should check the impact of diagonal wind on the building. Now, when this engineer checked the safety of this building due to the diagonal wind, it was noticed that there was 40% increase in wind load, resulting in 160% increase in the load at those steel trusses, horizontal trusses joints. There was 160% increase in the stresses due to the diagonal wind. Now, in the original design, the joint was the welded joints. But somehow, when the construction was happening, the contractor came out with a solution that we can replace these welded joints with the bolted joints to save the material and also to save time. This engineer's office gave this permission, and interestingly, this engineer was not aware that his office has given the permission for the same. But anyway, the permission was given, and the whole all the joints were converted into the bolted joints and construction was done accordingly. So now when it was happening, when they checked it and they started checking it for the diagonal wind, they realized that building is not safe. These joints are not safe. The welded joints were safe for those diagonal winds, but these bolted joints are not safe for the diagonal wind. So there was serious problem. Then what happened? The load from the 70, then this was safe for the wind of 110 kilometer per hour wind, and then they, when there was a warning of hurricane in that area, and the wind speed which was coming to that, which was supposed to hit the building, and according to that, the building was supposed to be highly unsafe. So that engineer got worried. Further, these tuned mass temper were electrically operated, and if during the wind, due to some reason, electricity failed, then what will happen? The structure will be highly unsafe. So there was a dilemma for the structural engineer what to do. There is a probability of hurricane. The structure is not safe. Welded joints have been converted into the bolted joints. So this engineer thought if it will be made public, then his reputation will be in question. Then his reputation will be spoiled. There will be a lot of expenditure in doing it, but also safety was also very important. So this engineer went to the client. Somehow they went to the client. He explained the situation, and then they decided to strengthen it, and they started, they devised some scheme, and they started welding some steel plates on the joints, but they do not want it public to know about this. So they were doing the work at night, and they were doing at night so that nobody can understand what is happening. While they were doing it, there was again a warning of a hurricane that it is coming within 2 days, and work was unfinished. So they were worried now what to do. Still, they didn't inform any client, any resident or any neighbor or any authorities. They just kept on working, but they were not sure what is happening. Fortunately, the hurricane diverted its route and it doesn't hit the building. And they ultimately completed the retrofitting. Building was completed. It was occupied. It was being used. And for 20 years, nobody was aware about the situation. What is happening? What happened actually? So, building was safe. People are living. After 20 years, this thing was published in some journal, and it came to the light of everybody. So there is a ethical question: why this engineer didn't check the diagonal wind? Why he permitted the bolted joint instead of welded joints? Further, why they didn't inform the public, the neighbors, the authorities, the persons who are living in it? They put their life in the danger. Fortunately, nothing happened, but suppose this hurricane, the wind would have impacted the building, then what would have happened actually? So they put their lives in danger, whether it was ethical, just to save the reputation. So these are really very serious ethical issues, and these are still being debated. What is right? What is wrong? Yes, he did right that he informed the client, and they started taking up the strengthening work. But still, they should have informed the public also, those who were living in that building, those who were the neighbors, because their life was in danger. So to save his reputation, or to save and also the client, thought it not proper to inform the public. So this was a highly unethical action on their part, but still it is being debated. It is a classical case of ethics in structural engineering. So then there's another case. I was talking about this fundamental right of an engineer in the right of professional conscience, the right to apply own professional judgment while discharging duties. Now, suppose you are designing a building, or you are writing some specification, or you are supervising something, and you come across that something is wrong, this is unsafe, and further you have done something else, and it is being changed by somebody. What you will do? First of all, I think you will inform your superior, you will boss your senior engineer or somebody. If you find that still nobody is doing anything, still no action is being taken, then what you will do? Probably you will approach the higher authorities. Suppose they are also not taking any action. What you will do? One way is you can think, I have done my job. I took a decision. I informed my boss. My job is over. I do not know what is happening. But if you are a professional, if you are a professional engineer, you also know that this is unsafe. This is a safety and health and safety issue, and it may lead to serious accident or serious problem. Even though your boss is not taking any action, you are not supposed to you are not supposed to sit silently. What you will do actually? So there are ways and means of doing it. There is a whistleblower policy. There is a act. Act was passed in 2014, but somehow it is in limbo. But CVC has some guidelines. They have some system in place. So basically, under all the companies and government companies and private companies, under the Companies Act also, it is mandatory to every company to have this whistleblower policy and whistleblower protection policy, where you as an engineer or anybody can complain. Your name will be kept secret, and it will be investigated, and your complaint will be investigated. Yes, if your complaint is found to be wrong, then there can be some action against you also, but it is not all that simple. And further, whistleblowing by professional engineers is not an unusual event, and courts have often sided with engineers in such cases, because if you are making a complaint against your boss or your company that something wrong is happening, then company may also sue you in the court of law. That's if your complaint found wrong, then they can claim that because of your this decision, your action, company has lost reputation, they got so much of financial loss, so they may sue you in the court. So, but still, whistleblowing by professional engineers is not an unusual event, and courts have often sided with engineers in such cases, overruling duties to employers and confidentiality considerations that otherwise would have prevented the engineer from speaking out. So somehow this whistleblower act and policies come to your help. You can also use it if needed. Some such thing happened with me also in one of the project. There was one project in NCR which was being done by a builder. It was being done in 3 phases, 1, 2, and 3. They have their own set of consultant, architects, engineers, PMC, and first phase was complete, occupied. Second phase was under construction, and they completed. It was around 28 storied structures. When they approached us, 4 or 5 floors were remaining, other structure were complete. Phase 3 was yet to be started. So somehow when they were doing the second phase, which was structure work were being done, somebody raised doubt in their mind that this is not safe, there are some issues in it. So through somebody, they approached us to visit us. They required us to visit the site, and they told us that please find out what is the problem. Is it okay to go ahead, or what are the problems and what to do? Then we did our investigation. We did a lot of entities. We got the drawings also. Then we told them that there's a design issues, the design is not okay, you need to revise the designs. Then they said, no, we can't do anything with the design now because first phase has already been constructed, we can't do it about anything about it. Second phase is under construction, so we can do some kind of a rectification in it if possible. Third thing, no problem, whatever you will do, we will do design third phase according to you. He said, okay. Then we did a lot of amenities and other things, and there were a lot of quality issues. This concrete strength which was specified in the design was M35. At site it was coming around M15. We did lot of tests at different members and also by different agencies. Everything was correlating. So we concluded that ultimately the structure is unsafe. Design is also not proper. We developed this retrofitting strengthening scheme. We gave to the client. They paid us everything. They made all the payment to us also. And then we were waiting for its implementation. They did nothing actually. They took everything from us but did nothing. And our scope was also there in the supervision. They never called us to visit the site. We gave the reminder, nothing happened. Then, but now what to do? I was aware, or our firm was aware, that this is unsafe, this is highly unsafe. There are serious problems are there in the structure. But we had already informed the client, but they were not doing anything. Then, after some time, we informed the consultant, those who were the structural consultant for the project, the PMC, the architects, and the client also. We informed them also that we visited your site and this was the observation. Please take care of it and do the needful. But again, it came to overnight, but nothing happened actually. Then there was again a serious issue. There was no much option for us what to do. Ultimately, what we did, we wrote a letter to the development authority under which it was there. We told them there is a project, these are the issues, these are our findings, please get it checked, please do something to ensure the safety of the persons. This is the last limit up to which we went. I do not know whether we did it right or wrong or something else we should have done. I am also not sure whether it has been rectified or not, but I am trying to say there are issues, there are ethical issues. If we know something is wrong is happening in the interest of the public safety, we need to act. We need to go beyond our normal routine job. So this whistleblower policy or act will come to your help if you need to do. Okay, now if you have time, I can take one case study also, one more case study. This is a very small case study just to highlight what kind of ethical issues can happen. This is not from India. There's a person called Tom. The person is studying the pH levels in a series of lakes covering 100 square miles, and large number of fish have been dying, and the study hopes to determine the reasons for this. Tom begins to suspect that acid rain, a result of emission from the nearby power plants, is the source of the problem. He started thinking that this power plant is there because this acid rain is happening, and because of the acid rain, pH level is changing and the fish are dying, and this fisherman will also be in trouble. Before he concluded his research, he started thinking like this. So data are not yet sufficient to prove his argument, and another study is in the work. Tom shares his concerns with the action to save the fish, both from the ecosystem and the fishermen who depended on them. Should he start it even if all the data is not yet? He thought if he wait for the study to complete, by that time all fishes will die and fishermen will be in trouble. So he thought there is a problem. He should take it up with some environmental groups so that this kind of activity can be stopped. So now there is an issue. The person is working for a research group in a research institution, and he was doing an activity assigned by that institution. He was supposed to be guided by the code of ethics and the regulations of that body. But now this person started thinking that something serious happening, so he should do something, and he started contacting the environmental groups. So now this is an ethical matter. He violated the code of ethics. He violated the confidentiality, and he was also not sure. He was not 100% sure whether what he's doing is right or wrong, because his study was incomplete, other studies were incomplete. But yes, his concern for the fisherman and the fish was also very important, that if you conclude the study and the all fishes died, then what is the use of your study? So this is an ethical issue. You can have a debate on it. There's no one single answer to this, but yes, there is this ethical issue here. Then one more interesting thing happened actually a few years back. This is regarding code of ethics and few consultant. You have consultant. I will say, I will not name anybody. This is a real life situation. I was also involved in it. There was a consultant B. There is a consultant S. They are both consultants, and there is a construction company called S, consultant company called C. They usually in the metro projects, this is basically design build projects. Contractors are supposed to bid according to their designs, and they hire consultant for their pre-bid and post-bid consultancy. Usually this is a very common feature in metro kind of project where metro stations and line are constructed. So this contractor C hired consultant B for their pre-bid and post-bid activities. They have the contract, they have all fees settled for pre-bid and post-bid activities and everything. Now they got the project. Their bid was successful. Based on the input received by given by the consultant B, they got the project. They got the project. Consultant B started working on the post-bid services. Client told them, contractor C told them to start the work. They started the work. Then this contractor somehow realized that the fee is higher. Then they approached the consultant S, the other consultant. Another consultant quoted less, and ultimately this contractor C terminated the contract of consultant B based on fee, because of the fee. Now B approached the consultant C, a consultant S. We are doing this work. You cannot take away this work. We have already agreement with the consultant, with the contractor. But consultant S said, no, we are not aware you are working. They approached us. Contractor C approached us for the post-bid consultancy. We bid for that and we got the project. We are doing it. Now this consultant B complained to a professional body of which both the consultant B and S are members. Now this committee was formed to investigate the matter, and it was deliberated, because the code of ethics of that professional body say you cannot take away the job of anybody, any other fellow consultant, purely based on fee consideration. But it happened only because of the fee consideration. You cannot act on contractor C because they are not member of a professional body. Contractor C, it was also unethical on the part of contractor C to terminate the contract based on the fee once the fee is settled. But anyway, you cannot do anything about C because he is not member of the professional body. Yes, you can fight it out in the court as a legal matter. But both B and S consultants are member of this professional body. So this committee investigated whether the consultant S did something wrong. the trail of email somehow established that this consultant S was aware about the appointment of consultant B for pre-bid services. Further, both the consultants are working in this kind of activity for a long time. It was also very uncomprehensive, very unfortunate and unimaginative to understand that this consultant S is not aware that there is always a consultant for pre-bid services and based on which the contractor gets the work. And further, the consultant S was working on the inputs of consultant B only. So it was a debatable issue actually. In the committee, there were many members, 5 members were there, but some 4 out of 5 thought it is not a ethical issue, it is a legal issue, and they should not have done it, but they have done it. It's a legal issue. But somehow it seems to me that it is an unethical issue on the part of consultant S, who took away the job of consultant B purely based on the fee, and both are members of that body, and both are governed by the code of ethics of that body, and it clearly specifies that you cannot take away the job of consultant, any fellow consultant, purely based on the fee considerations. So anyway, this is a real story, how things happens and how there's a very thin borderline between legality and unlegality and ethics. So ethics can come into play at the time of bidding, at the time of decision making, at the time of designing, at the time of implementation, at the time of route alignment. At so many stages we can have these ethical issues. So in my view, this ethics is a very, very important thing. Yes, we generally do some unethical things which are legal in nature. They are very serious, which may have a very serious legal implications also for the engineer, for the consultants. But there are certain other unethical considerations, decisions we take, which may not have a legal implications, but yes, they harm the profession, they harm the reputation of consultants. We should not do it. So ultimately, at the end, at the conclusion, I would like to say that ethics is a very important aspect in professional practice, and at the core of everything we are doing in personal life, in professional life, we should learn more about ethics, and we should do more about ethics, and we should practice ethical practices. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We have been getting a very live discussion in your very educational and very clarifying presentation. So should we take a few questions now?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'll start. Okay, from the first one.
Can I see the
Mr. Rajiv?
Can I also see the questions?
Yes, sir. I have listed them. You can see the questions on the right. They are there in the chat box. I have copied them. So, first question was by Mr. Rajiv, that even though there are medical council, lawyers, bar, etc., ICAI, etc., but hardly there are any actions for ethical issues. So that's I think, sir, one thing.
Yeah, it is true. The councils are there, medical council there, law council there. So we have various councils, but very few legal, technical, disciplinary actions are being taken against the professionals. Yes, it is very unfortunate in India, but it is not so in other countries. But yes, in India we have these councils also have shortcomings, and there is need to improvement in those. To those councils, there's a need to improvement there, and we do not have, unfortunately. Yes.
Yeah. Then one question by Dulal Goldar, sir, that if someone is unethical, then is there any law to protect against unethical behavior? unethical?
I don't think so. If you can fight it out in court, then if it's basically about the legality. So if it is you are taking some decision happiness, you are doing something. If it is illegal, you can go to the court and court can decide about it. But if it is illegal, it may be unethical. I don't think you can do anything. You can't do much about it actually.
Yeah. Again, okay, then there is a discussion actually on when you said that clients should feel obliged to consultants. That statement when you made, Mr. Khurana thought that clients are paying to consultants, so why should they feel obliged? There were some responses by Mr. Rajasekhar saying that the service and the way it is rendered should invite gratitude from the client. And also, Ms. Shilpi thought that if the consultant has done really good job like economical and safe design, client should feel obliged. So, what is your?
Yeah, see, this is not a question. As a consultant, you should client should always feel obliged that you rendered services to them. But unfortunately, in India, we have come to a situation where clients, particularly MNCs, consider consultants as service providers. Even the public sector companies, they also issue PO. What is PO? Purchase order. They issue PO to consultants. Ultimately, now the consultants are not being considered as a consultant actually. They are being considered as a service provider only, which is very unfortunate.
Yeah. Then Dr. Abhay Gupta had a question. Is the profession and the professional tax, are they linked? And similarly, Mr. Manmohan Kalgal was commenting that all professionals are made to pay service tax. Hence, we are considered service providers. So, what is this about taxation?
I said this all as a consultant, we are rendering service. There is no doubt about it. So service tax can be applied to consultants. I think there is nothing wrong in paying service tax if it is being imposed on us, because ultimately we are rendering services. We are rendering services, but what I tried to said was that we as a consultant are little bit different from other service providers. We are knowledge-based persons. Our services are different from other service providers. So our services which we are providing to a client client must definitely feel obliged if we are really truly consultant. Otherwise, okay, we are providing service, we are getting fee. Our services cannot be quantified properly. Our services cannot be defined properly. What kind of services I will render for a same project? Two consultant can provide different kind of services. While Airtel will provide same kind of services to customers, but for I can provide different kind of services for the same project for different consultants. So there's a difference between a consultant and service provider, but ultimately we are also providing services, and service tax can be imposed on us also, no problem. I don't think any problem in it.
And what about professional tax?
I don't know where it is in Delhi. I don't know where it is the professional tax is applied. In Delhi, we do not have, but in some part of India, if we have professional tax, but I don't think there should be professional tax and service tax both. There can be either professional tax or service tax. Either one of those tax can be there, but not both.
Right. Mr. Rajasekhar wants to ask, why are we not having chartered engineer concept like in other developed countries? I believe the PE license is.
I think this is a totally different debate. Why we do not have chartered? We have chartered engineer certificate being issued by the institution of engineers, and I can say this is also valid in so many authorities. I am also using it. At so many places it is valid and it is being recognized. But yes, the problem is we do not have any proper recognition of professional engineers or membership of institution of engineers. So this is basically due to the lack of the central legislation, due to the recognition by the government engineering as a profession, and there is a need of having engineers act actually.
Okay. There is a question by Mr. Jitendra. So this is a situation in case suppose I am working on a public infrastructure project, scope
Right.
of which is inflated by my client. What can I do? I know most of the project cost is going to be a waste of public money as those infrastructure will not be used. Example, a treatment plant when I know there is no sewer network which can bring sewage there for treatment. So maybe some light on.
Yes, definitely. There can be issues if you are working on a NHAI project. Which project? Infrastructure project.
Well,
Yes.
some public
Yeah.
infrastructure project.
Suppose, yes, definitely. It is a very common thing. If you are working on some infrastructure project and you find that the estimates are highly inflated, what can you do? But I do not know. You also tell in which capacity you are working actually there. You are there as a consultant, or in which capacity you are working. So definitely you can flag this to the higher authorities, but it depends upon your role, what kind of role you have in that project, whether you are a consultant or you are employee of the authority or what you are actually. But if you are a consultant and an estimate has been prepared, then who has prepared the estimate? Estimate has been prepared by the authority. I don't know. Your question is not clear actually, but yes, it depends
Yeah.
upon your role. I can say it depends upon your role, what kind of a step you can take.
Yeah. Alok sir had a question about how consultants should handle unethical clients' requests. So
And
unethical client request, how can be handled?
unethical request of the clients, how to handle it?
Yes. Yes.
Oh. See, if you, I think if you get some request from client which is unethical in nature, see, there's no single answer to it. If you refuse it directly, probably you will lose a job, maybe. So it is a tricky thing. So you need to handle it diplomatically. But at the end of the day, I would say you should not agree to an ethical issue, unethical demand, if it is affecting the quality or safety of the public. This is the bottom line, I think. But yes, it is tricky to handle it. Otherwise, you may lose the project also.
Um, when you were talking about morality, ethics, and legal boundaries, Ms. Monica had a question: does ethics have base of moral values? And similarly, Samarjit sir had a question that interfaces of morality, ethics, and legal boundaries. Maybe some light on that, on the interface of these three.
See, I would say, as I said clearly, moral values are individual based. Ethical considerations are shared values, which are followed by a particular set of persons, particular company, or particular profession. And then there are laws. Usually there should not be any conflict in all these things, because code of ethics are also based on legal aspects. They are also based on fairness, honesty, truthfulness, competence, and uh, and uh, and moral values are also based on all those things only. So ultimately, when you are taking a decision, whatever you are doing, that has to be legal, that has to be within the code of ethics, and that will definitely, whatever you will do, that will definitely be governed by the moral values. There is no fine line between all the three. Whenever you will take a decision, you will always consider all the things. you will consider the moral values, which are your all own values. You will also be guided by the code of ethics and definitely by the law, definitely. But yes, if you have very strong conviction, you can violate the code of ethics, and but you cannot violate the law. If you violate the law and go by your moral values only, then you may be in trouble in the court also. So ultimately, you need to think about everything.
Mr. Sumit Mishra wants to know whether corporate social responsibility also comes under the purview of ethics.
CSR. I
Yes.
think you're talking of CSR. See,
He
CSR.
has mentioned that, okay, sorry. He has mentioned that as per the Company Act of 2013, there is no legal binding on non-listed companies to keep mandatory spends against CSR, but he wants to know whether it comes under ethics.
See, yes, that as per the Companies Act, CSR is mandatory. 2% of the profit has to be spent on activities, and activities are also listed in the schedule. There's a set of activities which can be taken by the company. So it is listed. Yes, in broad sense, you can say it also comes under ethics, but because ultimately what they are trying to say in CSR, that you are doing a business, you are making profit, you're ultimately, if you see in the broader sense, whatever you are doing in a company, any kind of a company, you are also doing good for the society. You are producing good, you are rendering services. Ultimately, you are doing everything for the society. But the act has mandated these companies. It has made mandatory that some percent, 2% of the profit has to be spent on certain kind of activities. Uh, how, where, that is also defined. So somehow it is also for the greater good of the society. So yes, you can say it comes under ethics also. And if it is not required as per the law for the smaller companies, it is not mandated. From ethical considerations also, smaller companies should also take up the CSR activities in whatever manner they can, in whatever capacity they can. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Kalgal wants to know your opinion. Most of the IS codes are recommendations, and hence one can violate the code. That is the argument that he puts forth. And
No, I will like to differ it on it. Because, see, the BIS codes, National Building Code, or any other IS 45, or any code, they are recommendatory in nature, right? But these codes become mandatory when they are notified by the local local authorities. Okay, all local authorities, development authorities, municipal corporations, they notify their building bylaws. And in their building bylaws, they always say that all the structures should be designed and constructed as per the standards of BIS. They specify there in their notification. Once these are listed there and they are notified, then it becomes mandatory for an engineer to design and follow those codes if you are constructing in that area. There is no option not to follow it. You cannot avoid it. You cannot delete it. You cannot. This is it. That will be illegal actually. And also, if you remember, when you are doing some project in some authority, you are always giving a certificate that building has been designed as per the code, this and that. So ultimately, it is a mandatory because it has been made mandatory by the local development bodies by notification. But as such, codes are recommendatory in nature from BI's point of view.
we will just take the two more final questions. I think we can have a discussion other than that later. So one second last question is Mr. Rajasekhar wants to know, wants you to discuss actually the concept of chartered engineer in Indian context, and specifically wants to know whether it involves ethics and values like doctors taking oath.
See, as I said, chartered engineer certificate is being issued by Institute of Engineers. But if you see, they are issuing it to everybody. after
Right.
5 years of experience, they are issuing to everybody. So as such, it doesn't have much value. But yes, it is being recognized to a large scale in India. Further, when you become a member of Institution of Engineers, you also sign a code of ethics. So then you are, whether you are a chartered engineer or a member of Institution of Engineers, you are bound by the code of ethics. So if you violate it, then some legal action can be initiated against against a member of Institution of Engineers. There is a mechanism there.
Right. And the last question that I think we can take today is that as a consultant, is it compulsory to enter into an agreement? This is by Mr. Alpesh Majumdar.
Yes, you should. We should enter into an agreement as a consultant for doing any work, because without entering into an agreement, you do not know what you will deliver and what you will get and what are your responsibilities. So it is very important to enter an agreement before undertaking any professional activity.
Sir, you have given us a very informative presentation, and thank you so much from my side and from behalf of everybody who has been messaging you. And you have also answered a number of questions that we had. So we will look forward to taking more discussions later in future with you. Thank you very much. And
Thank
thank
you.
you to
Thank
all
you.
the
Thank you so much.
participants for spending so much time.
Thank you.
So I think we are flooded with thank you messages on the chat box. So
Okay. Okay, you can forward this. Can you forward these queries or something to me? I can go through these questions also.
yes, definitely, sir. I will forward that. Many participants had a
Okay.
small request. They wanted the PowerPoint
Huh.
presentation of your today's webinar so that they can use it as reference material for the clients, etc.
No problem. That we can say. We can. I
Okay,
can.
thank you very much.
I will share it.
Okay, sir. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So I'm leaving the room now. Thank you all.